Hello everybody, here is my second video of today. Welcome to another edition of Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina. It has maybe gotten a little less rainy outside, and I'm trying sitting a little further back so I'm not like in your face. But anyway, I haven't done a crochet video in a while, and I've been thinking about what to do. I feel like there's a lot more that once you know the basics of crochet you can just kind of work with. But my assistant Liz reminded me of front post double crochet. I haven't done a video on that yet, so let's talk about what that is. Now, a regular double crochet, you've got a post and you've got the top. We'll have some drawings of that in a minute, and you usually work into the very top. I love double crochet because that post is twisty and it's really nice. Now, a front post double crochet, as the name implies, means we're going to work with the post instead of with the top. It can give you some really cool, like, instead of having a straight fabric, you can have things popping out and you can have more twists. You can work with the twists some more. So if you've got a pattern with front post, let's talk about what that is. And there are different kinds of front post half, double, and triple, and we're just doing a double. It's right in the middle. You can kind of extrapolate from that what to do with other things, but you can always ask us. So enough of me gabbing. Let's get to it. So in our drawings, let's talk through a little bit of this. I just mentioned in our intro, front post double crochet. We're working with the post instead of the top of the stitch. We'll take a look at what that looks like in a drawing in just a second. You want to start when we're actually dipping around the post. You go through the top of the stitch. The top on a regular stitch, we go through. The post, we're going to dip under and around. I often say people learn in different ways. And so if the word under makes more sense than around, hang on to it. Hang on to whichever one works for you. So we start at the front of that post, why it's called front post, to duck under and around the post. So yeah, I wrote it both places. Hey, there we go. But here's the thing. Everything else is the same as a regular double crochet, except where the hook interacts with the stitch. Again, instead of the top, it is the post. But all the other steps are the same. Yarn over before you start. Where you insert it, this is what's different. Everything else, yarn over. Where you put it changes, but then you draw up a loop, which is the yarn over, pull up. I'm calling it draw up here. And then this, it's in brackets because it repeats. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. You repeat those brackets until you're done with the stitch. So all of this is exactly the same as a double crochet, except for where you put the hook here. That's different. Okay? So let's take a look. Right side and wrong side. Right side, this is a double crochet. This is a double crochet. And when I say right side and wrong side, it's the front and the back, but this whole front post thing, it's gonna still be the same action no matter which side of the stitch you're on. The right side is right after you make the stitch. When you're doing a regular double crochet, when you're looking at it right after you make it, it has what we would call here, this is the post, and then it's got a loop part at the top with a hole in that top part of the loop, and the hole right after you make it, it looks like the letter P. Now, if I was going in a circle, say, if I was going to keep that right side facing me the whole time, and I wanted to do a regular double crochet, I would go into the top hole right there of the P. If we're working across a row and flipping it and working back across that row, we would take a look at that stitch from what I would call the wrong side, and we still have a post, which is the twisty part that sticks down. It's a little bit twistier and more fluid looking on the right side. It's a little chunkier looking on the wrong side, but it's still a long twisty piece. And then you still have that hole that when you're doing a regular double crochet, you still work into. But now it looks kind of like a Q. I call them my P's and Q's when I'm teaching regular crochet. Now this post, the bottom part of it is what we're concerned with when it's a front post double crochet. Instead of going in here or here, we are going to duck behind here and behind here. Go from the front under and back up to the front is what makes it a front post. Let's talk about what it will look like in drawings, and also for some people it's going to click better when you see it happening with the actual yarn. We're going to do both. Let's look at some pictures. All right, got to get myself out of the way behind the camera here. So remember what I said, we'll color code this as much as we can. All right, so just like with a regular double crochet, step 1, you're going to yarn over your hook. I know I'm doing abbreviations. Yarn over your hook. Okay? I can box that off for you. So this is, we've got the back sides of stitches here, beginning chainy looking funkiness. Here's a stitch, here's a stitch. I've got 3 potential stitches. And I've chained up to start my new stitch. So let's see what colors we want to color code this. I tend to start off with things like the original loop will make him purple. The yarn over, we're gonna make orange. We'll keep track of all this if we can. And he goes under and he's coming back there. That's the working yarn right there. I also want to color code the stitch we are going to deal with. Now this is the stitch. Here are all the pieces of it that we are going to do our front post double crochet around. Okay, that's him right there. This chain is connected to this stitch. Our front post double crochet is going to happen around the second stitch right there. So what we want to do next is we want to go under. Let me get my red guy. You want to start at the front on the right side of the stitch and go under that post and come back out. If I was going to take my hook, I would take him here and he would go back under, come out here on this side and come up to the front. He's only going under this post, not that one, only this one. So he's going to come from the front under to the back and scoop under only that post. Keep track of one post at a time and come back up to the front. So let's see if we can write some instructions. So 2 would be start at the right side. Well, let's do this. Hook goes front to back at right side of post, under post, and back up back to front. I'm trying to cut out as many words as possible. What that's going to look like is right here. It's a little funky. Let's map out our colors here, okay? We have on our hook, we've got a whole lot right now. We've got our original loop. We have, orange doesn't want to stay clean, but we've got our yarn over. And we've pushed under the post. This all right here is my hook going under that post. The top part of the stitch we would normally work is still sitting up there. I have gone under and scooped and come back to the front. Notice this, if he's still in my field of vision, I think he is. The second one here that we left clear, he's still back behind here. I've only gone under this one post and I've scooped back to the front. So I went under and back up. And my hook is sitting right there. What's going to happen? What I want to do next, step number 3, and I'm going to draw it in here. You want to yarn over that hook that's sitting with all that. The yarn's back here. I'll draw that in a second. It'll look a little funny. You want to yarn over and pull back under just what you ducked under in the first place. It's what I call drawing up a loop. The first part of this I will draw here, the yarn over. I'm going to draw in, okay? The yarn is actually going to come straight over. It's back here right now. It's behind the orange. When you yarn over, it's going to feel awkward. It's going to come all the way around here. So if we want to see what that looks like, and we get to make it a new color, it's going to squish over that entire stitch, and you're going to be like, what? This can't be right. And guess what? It is. So this is our yarn over here. This yarn over is what I just did there. We could even say it's this thing. Haha. That's the yarn over. And let's make it blue. Let's color that guy in. Our yarn over is blue. And that yarn over, we're going to pull back only under the green. Now here's what it's going to look like. It's gonna, again, look squished and funny. Let me move that up for us. Here's what it's going to look like after we draw up the loop. It's going to look like this picture. Again, let's color code this all. 3 loops on there. We have our original purple. We have our orange of that first yarn over before we started the stitch. And now we have here is our yarn over that we pulled back under this post. It's going to squish that post and pull it in a funny direction. You might notice a whole lot of space over here. A whole lot of empty air. And it's pulled over to that second stitch on the other side of it. That's okay for right now. Try not to stress about that. Now we need to do the fourth part is that yarn over, pull through 2 loops and repeat until done. I don't have enough room on my boards to do that. You're going to do it 2 times before it's done. So it's going to be a yarn over and go through 2, and then a yarn over and a go through 2. It's gonna make sense even if it doesn't on the picture. And this picture on Instagram gonna look funky. But here's the cool thing, is when you're totally done, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna make the twisty pop forward and look like it keeps twisting up just a little higher. So if I could, what I'd like to do is say these guys are going to feel like they're further back. This is going to look more pronounced, and it's going to look like it just keeps twisting up. Now here's the cool part, is it actually is still those 2 stitches. The bottom half of it is still that green stitch, and then what is on top is actually a little bit of all of these stitches. I may not be marking each and every part of it completely correctly, but all of those pieces are now part of this new stitch, but it's going to be extra twisty and keep going up. Now that it's been completely crazily befuddled by drawing it out, or maybe for some of you the logic has made this make total sense, let's take a look at what it looks like when you're actually using yarn. And I'm going to try this with 2 colors. Okay, so I have a couple rows of double crochet here, and I have attached some teal so we can see what's going on. I'm going to do the same thing I did in that picture. Let me get a little higher here. The front post double crochet tends to not be quite as tall as a regular double crochet, so it may have you do a half double crochet at the beginning or only chain a couple. And we're going to avoid this post, but here, let's take a look. Here's the top of the stitch, which is usually where you would do your double crochet, is into this hole, but we're going to deal with the post. So remember, everything but where I put the hook when I come down here is the same. So we start by yarning over, and now if I need to, I'll hold it out of the way, but this is my post right here where my thumb is. I'm going to start at the front. I'm going to go down to this bigger space down here, not the top holes, in from front to back, under the post, and come back up. So I'm under this post. I'm going to bring my yarn over the front, pull up my loop. Remember, it's going to pull that so it looks really funny. And now I'm going to do what I would do with a regular double crochet. Yarn over, pull under 2, wiggle and hold right up there if I need to. Yarn over, pull under 2. What happens is I have a twisty that crosses the tops of these stitches. The stitch ends up in front. But if you do it in different colors, you can see the different stitches. Let me do one more, and then let me show you what it looks like if we did it in the same color. It has a really cool effect where you can't really see the difference between the stitches, so it just looks like a big post. But let me show you again with the same color. Remember, yarn over before you start. Next post, go in from the right under and come back up, yarn over and duck it back through, back out the exact reverse of what you came in. Now I've got my 3. I'm going to go 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, let me get the tail. Let me get the same color of yarn I was using so I can show you. Yeah, I was deciding if I was going to link it through or not, but let me just start my stitch with a yarn over with the same color. See, this one's here, so I need to go to the next one. I'm going to start at the right side of this post and go under, back up, yarn over, pull through. Now I have 3. I'm going to yarn over and do sets of 2. 1, 2. Now see the difference? This, it almost looks like it just keeps going if you do it in the same color. I did these so you could see what was being done and how it was wrapping around. But if you kept going in the same color, yarn over, take your next post, go front to back, under and back up, yarn over, pull back through only what you push through, yarn over a set of 2, yarn over a set of 2. There you go. It's really cool. Now just to throw a fun added bonus in here, what some people have been doing to do ribbing, they've done a back post. So a back post is the exact opposite of a front post. Start with a yarn over, that's the same. But this post, you want to come from the back to the front, go past it, and go back to the side you started from, yarn over, duck under, it's a little scoopier. Now sets of 2 again. 1, 2. That pulls back, this pushes forward. If you keep doing that, do a front post, and then do a back post. Remember, hold this so you can get under. Back to front, scoop, go to back to the back. Oops, I lost it. Back to front, to the back, scoop back under. That can be a little tougher. That could be your next challenge. You'll start to have, let me do another front one. If you repeat that on the next row, do fronts what's in front and back what's in back, you end up with something that kind of looks like ribbing. If that was too much, just back up to the front post part. But here's the other thing, it can be neat to see, is if we ignore this part over here, if you see the other thing it's doing, it's taking the top part of that stitch and it's forcing it to be shown on the other side. So this can be a really neat way to have what look like knit stitches in a way, to give you a different texture on at least one side of your work. Either way you use it, for a relief on the front or texture on the other side, it's a pretty cool stitch. So thanks for joining us on talking about front post double crochet and some of the cool effects that it can make on either the side you made it on or the other side. It's a really neat stitch. You can make some really cool things happen with it. So play around with it, try it, let me know what you think. Let me know what else you'd like to see videos about too. More crochet videos, I'm always looking for inspiration. Let me know what is mystifying you, boggling you, or you want to see mapped out, and we'll take a look at it. We'll dissect it. It'll be fun. So we also do what I think are fairly inexpensive one-on-one sessions. They're usually about $25 for longer ones for like actual project fees. $15 for short check-ins where we can just get you straightened out. Zoom lessons right now is how we're doing it. So near or far, we can work with you as best we can until it's safe to get together in the same space again. We miss you guys so much. If you are enjoying our videos, if you want some merch, some Sun Dragon art and fiber, t-shirts, some swag, show off your love for the channel, for the sideshow, for the shop, however you want to do it. It's one of the ways that we are making ends meet right now, which is great. If you want to subscribe, that always helps us out, and it lets you know when there's going to be another video. If you hit that alarm bell, you'll definitely get a notification. If you're not comfortable with subscribing, I get it. If you just want to give us a thumbs up if you like this video, that's helpful to us too. Let us know what else you want to see. And for right now, may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence, a way to keep the boat sailing smooth in this time of craziness, you know. We come back to just settle on joy and confidence. We miss you. We hope you all are staying safe. Love from us. Join us on the sideshow or our sit and stitch. Can't wait to see you. Bye.
I don't know if you can hear, but he's snoring.